It is fair to assume that the average person thinks of one thing on the topic of bees: honey, the sweet, delectable, delicious, savory, golden treat that can atop any dull pastry, dry bread, or bland dish to make ordinary into spectacular. For centuries, humans, myself included, have enjoyed the delectable treat produced by bees. Now, bees, a generalization that can include big fuzzy bees, scary intimidating bees, and what I believe is normal bees, being honeybees. Until this class, anyone could be mistaken of these three or many more types of bees, but not anymore. Everyone should be able to see the bees are very different and distinct. One type of bee worth looking at is called the leafcutter. Leafcutters are a type of bee that doesn't make any of the delectable honey that we often look at, but yet does provide the essential functions of all bees. It is important to understand the leafcutter. The leafcutter bee is native to North America. That being said, they can be found throughout the world, but they are most common in North America, especially Florida. This will come as a bit of a shock, but leafcutters get their name because they are known for, well, cutting holes into the leaves. Would never have guessed, right? Leafcutters use their mandibles to cut holes into leaves to use for nesting. Leafcutters cut the leaves into approximately 0.25 to 0.5 inch circles to construct their unique cigar-like nests. The cigar-shaped nests are often built in holes of soft rotting wood or plant stems that the bees can dig out to make cavities for their nests. The cigar-shaped nests are built into cells, segments that contain several cells with a single egg or pollen in each. Leafcutter nests can be anywhere from 4 to 8 inches long, consisting of several cells. The nesting habits of the honeybees. The honeybees have a social lifestyle and form a colony. Leafcutters, for the most part, are solitary bees. Actually, they are solitary bees. Female leafcutters take upon themselves the duties of creating a nest and providing for their young with food. A leafcutter female is expected to lay between 35 to 40 eggs in their 2-month lifetime. In comparison, the honeybee, the queen, would expect to lay about 2,000 eggs a day and live for several years. Clearly, a major difference between these two bees in the makeup of the colony versus the solitary life. Continuing on, leafcutters, as do all bees, play a huge role in pollination. Without pollination, many of the crops we consume would be unable to grow because they do not self-pollinate. The bee's importance in agriculture cannot be underestimated. Leafcutters are no different in this respect. Unlike other bees, though, the leafcutter carries pollen on the bottom of their abdomen rather than their hind legs, like the honeybee. It is then easy to recognize if you're dealing with a leafcutter because one will notice the bottom of the bee's abdomen to be yellow, with the gold from the pollen. Leafcutters collect pollen on the scopa on the bottom of their abdomen. To recall, honeybees and many other species of bees carry pollen on their hind legs. Leafcutters are often considered as pests to many because of their cutting habits. Gardeners and farmers have websites to literally prevent and keep leafcutters from destroying their gardens. But it's important for the gardeners to know that the leafcutters do little harm to their plants besides the holes they leave. The holes hardly harm the plant. That being said, any good gardener doesn't want holes in his plants, so eliminating nesting sites are key for those gardeners. Insecticides are often ineffective in keeping leafcutters out. The only true way to defend plants against leafcutters is to create barriers to keep the leafcutters from the protected plants. It is important to recall that eliminating bees in any context is not always a great idea because of the pollination habits of the bees and the potential benefits from this pollination. So, to recall, the leafcutter bee is not a honeybee. It does not produce the sweet treat that we often crave. The leafcutter also has different nesting habits. not forming hives like the others and rather plowing through wood or forming cigar-like shells. The leafcutter does not nest the same based on being a solitary bee and the nesting sites they make or provide. In the vast world of bees, the leafcutter is basically just another great pollinator. Unique from any other species of bees by the way it nests, acts, and reproduces, the leafcutter still performs the basic functions of a bee. You will see them foraging, nesting, and flying, just don't expect them to find honey.